This is Markin Out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Follow on Twitter. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Marking Out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Brennan likes fisting. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. We're marking out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans.
Welcome to Markin Out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. This is episode 715. Thanks for listening. Check us out at markinout.com. Did you buy a t-shirt? Not yet? You should. Head on over to prowrestlingtees.com/markinout. Give us a follow over on Twitter at markinout, Instagram at markinout11, on TikTok at markinout. Give us a like on Facebook. And also, make sure that you are subscribed and downloading every single episode. Markinout.com. But also iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Podcasts, and Spotify Podcasts. Make sure that you give us a 5-star rating to go with that 5-star frog splash. That being said, you can follow me, Dave, the Rave, on all social media platforms at David PTDPT. You can follow Chris on Twitter at Chris Sweendog and CMSweeney85 on Instagram. And you can follow Brandon at BTTG161 on all social media platforms. That being said, Brandon, how are you?
I am doing awesome, as always. How about yourself?
Doing fantastic. Got an early flight tomorrow. Early flight. 6 a.m. boarding.
That sucks. That really sucks. What time you got to be at the airport? Like 4 o'clock?
Yeah, I think I got to head out at got to call my Uber at 3:30.
Oh my God. I'll be going to sleep at that time.
That's unfortunate, and I believe you too.
Well, I'm not. Why would I make that up?
Yeah. Originally, I was going to meet up with one of my friends and spend the day, but plans ended up falling through. So now I'm really arriving much earlier, and
gotta film some content for the TikTok.
What excuse do I have now?
Right.
So I'm landing. I'm going to San Francisco. I am going to be
with flowers in your hair, of course.
Flowers in my hair, of course. Wouldn't show up any other way. Going to be staying over in Oakland, and going to be doing I'll probably go to the hotel, then do a day trip over to San Francisco to check it out. And then after that, my fellow companions at NPTE Final Frontier, my team, they're going to be joining on Thursday. Then we'll set up the booth. And then Friday and Saturday, it's game time. We're going to be working the Education Leadership Conference over in Oakland. So, Brandon, you attended this actually last year.
I didn't. Not in Oakland.
No, you attended the one in Philadelphia.
Which it's crazy that it's already been a year since we went to Philly.
It is pretty crazy that it's been a year since we went there. It doesn't feel like a year. Yeah, time really did fly by. But yeah, this is the same conference. It should be very eventful. It's different from other conferences because this is going to be pretty much purely academia. So faculty members of the universities and everything will be there. So it's going to be very eventful. We're actually holding an event on Saturday evening, which is something new to us. We didn't do it last year. Sorry, Brandon. Oh. But this year we're doing a mixer on Saturday night. So it should be good. It should be a lot of fun. I'm going to make sure that if we do end up
where I would have wanted to have gone.
I am sure. I am sure.
Most importantly, though, we better have at least 2 TikToks about the Full House house.
I am going to try to get over to the Painted Ladies.
What is that?
Apparently, that's the name of the houses.
Oh.
Yeah, apparently that's what it's called. Apparently.
I mean, I could look up the address. You could also look up the address and get the exact house where Danny Tanner would walk through that door and raise his beautiful family.
And into all of our lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to have to try to get there. Like, there's a lot to see. There's like a Yoda fountain.
The only thing you need to see in San Francisco, like I said, is the Full House house.
You know, there's a lot of rock and roll stuff too.
Well, yeah, but
like there's a Grateful Dead house.
Full House house trumps that.
Yeah, there's a Led Zeppelin hotel.
Full House house trumps that. The only other thing I think in San Francisco that I could possibly think of that is maybe on the same, well, just maybe a notch lower than the Full House house, are filming locations for The Princess Diaries.
I never saw that movie.
How not?
I don't know. Just never have.
There's going to be a 3rd one coming out, apparently.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Never have.
That's where literally everyone fell in love with Anne Hathaway.
Yeah. Never. But, yeah. So heading out to California tomorrow very early. So I'm trying to figure out what I want to watch on that airplane. They have Inside Out 2, but not 1.
You have to look at new movies. You're looking at movies.
Well, that is a new. That's
Inside Out 2. When did Inside Out 2 come out?
2 months ago.
Oh yeah, that is. Oh right, I was thinking of a different movie. I was thinking of a completely different film company. Even
I think of the same. I know what you're talking about, and I always make that. Which one are you thinking about?
I was thinking of that the Pets gimmick.
The Pets gimmick. Oh, I wasn't thinking about that.
Yeah, so Inside Out 2, I went and saw it in the theaters. That's on Disney Plus. I feel like that's way more accessible to see than something that you could choose on the airplane.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out which ones to watch because it's going to be a 6-hour flight.
That sucks.
So
it's a JetBlue flight.
American.
American.
Yeah, American flight.
Do they have the Fall Guy? I would recommend that.
The Fall Guy?
Yeah, that's the one with the Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt.
Former
previous shout out.
Yeah, I haven't seen that, but it does not look like they have a Fall Guy on the first 3 scrolls that I've done. Wow. But let's see. No, they don't have it. They don't have it. The Fall Guy. Nope. Doesn't come up. Oh, wait. They do have the Fall Guy. So you say I should watch that?
I think that. Why are these movies not in, like, date order? New releases.
I don't know.
Under the Boardwalk.
I'm not
Look
sure.
At that. Is that Coney Island?
You've made. I think last time I did a trip like this, you made the same suggestions to me.
No, I think, did I not suggest the Weird Al gimmick?
Yeah, you suggested Weird Al, and I actually watched it.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
I fell asleep during it a few times.
Well, don't fall asleep during the Fall Guy.
If you go to new this month, no movies come up.
Oh, well. Oh, also, I would watch Sweet Dreams. I want to see that movie. That's with Johnny Knoxville, where he plays a coach. I see that as streaming for you.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of options. Oh, you got Twilight?
Those aren't options. New movies.
We'll just go to the
that's
new
all
movies.
your options for what I'm seeing here. But aside from that, your week was fine?
Yeah, my week was very good. Oppenheimer I could watch.
It's probably already streaming somewhere.
True. Yeah, everything else is good. What about you?
Well, I went out for my Nana's actual birthday this week. Like, on the actual birthday. So, and that was with my aunt and uncle. That's about it.
Nice. Thanks for the invite.
Oh, well, you snooze.
for the invite.
We were right by your house, too. Mm-hmm.
Oh, so nice. So nice.
Yeah, you should have just used your little scooter and scooted all on over.
That would have been helpful. Would have been helpful, you know? Oh, we got the beekeeper.
Get off of the website.
Cash out?
We're moving over to Monday Night Raw, which kicked off with Rhea Ripley. Are you with me?
Oh,
here?
Monkey Man.
You're not with me.
Sorry,
Get
I'm with you
me to
now.
Monday
Monkey
Night
Man
Raw.
is the
Get
one I
off
have
the
to remember.
Get off the American Airlines and get to the American Made.
All right. Off the American Airlines onto the Rhea Ripley.
American Made. Yeah, Rhea Ripley said that she's not done with Liv Morgan. She's not done with Raquel Rodriguez. And it doesn't end until she gets the championship back. She called them out, but Tiffany Stratton showed up instead. And she was basically saying she's there from Nia Jax to tell Rhea Ripley to stay out of Nia Jax's business, or she'll have a big problem. And they started arguing. Rhea Ripley gets attacked by Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Tiffany Stratton gets attacked by them as well. Rhea Ripley later on, pissed off, demands a match with Adam Pearce, which he okayed, but he's like, I can't have you do this by yourself. It has to be a tag match. And she's like, who the hell am I going to find for a partner? And just then, Tiffany Stratton ran up yelling at Adam Pearce, and I popped big time. I think she was like, Nick Aldis or Mr. Aldis wouldn't do this, and he just like stared blankly at her. I popped big time at that stare. But then he suggested to Rhea Ripley for Tiffany Stratton to be the partner, and Rhea Ripley accepted, and Tiffany Stratton was like, what are you, yes for what? She didn't even realize it was for a match, so I thought that whole segment was entertaining.
I feel like everything that's been taking place with them has been very entertaining, I think.
Yeah. The first match of Monday Night Raw saw Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill pick up the victory over Damage Control to retain the tag team championships. Metaphor sat ringside for this, and I thought this match was good. I think that
I thought that it was good. I'm happy to see Metaphor at ringside too, like keeping them engaged.
Yeah, people are like, why are Metaphor on SmackDown? Why is Metaphor on Monday Night Raw? And it's like the women's tag team championships travel brand to brand to brand, and the champions themselves told Metaphor, if you want a shot at us and you think you can hang with us, then you have to come to us because we're not coming to you.
Yeah, so they're bringing it.
I like the pop-up, I guess maybe modified insane elbow drop from Kairi Sane that Io helped her with.
That was a sick move.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. But the champions ended up yelling at Metaphor, which distracted them. But then Io, out of the ring, yells at them. They grab her by the hair and knock her in the face. And then Io gets back into the ring. Bianca Belair was able to turn that vertical suplex into a KOD, and I thought that was a fantastic transition there from Bianca Belair. So I'm very happy that we got this match this week. After that, backstage, we had Finn Balor and JD McDonough Balor demanded a rematch against Damian Priest to Adam Pearce, and Adam Pearce was like, I'm not giving you one. You're done with Damian Priest. In fact, I'm setting up a tag team title tournament because you guys need to defend those titles. And as far as who I want to see win those titles, win that tournament even, the next match.
Do you think that we're going to, outside of who you're about to say, do you think that we're going to have any surprise entries into this tournament?
I don't know.
Maybe Axiom?
Unless it's going to be like a random team like Headbangers or something like that. Like super random. I don't see that happening, but it's possible. But we had the return of Eric and Ivar, and they are now back to the War Raiders. And they defeated the Alpha Academy to advance in that tournament. I'm very happy to see the War Raiders back from injury. And I'm very happy to see them back with that name and their theme song.
Yeah.
I was spoiled on TikTok almost as soon as this match happened last week.
Yeah, I got spoiled with it too.
It's kind of interesting, weird that they did that on a tape show. And they also pointed out that they're no longer painting their faces, so maybe that'll just be like special occasions from now on.
The only reason I can think that why they did it on a tape show is because they want to start the tournament next week.
Well, I mean,
or at least release
it's this week. What do you mean?
Huh?
It already happened. This next week was this week.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's true. So I think that they wanted to start the tournament sooner than later, so that's why they had it on the taped show.
But I wonder what this means. Like, once Valhalla's back from maternity leave, I wonder if...
I mean, if she comes back.
I can't see her not, but...
I mean, she was not a part of the War Raiders, right?
Right, yeah.
So it's very possible that she remains with her child and everything like that, and it's just them for now.
It's possible. They also have a new finisher with that tossing back suplex into the splash at the same time. Yeah. I thought that was nice.
Yeah, that was cool.
Earlier, though, they showed Adam Pearce with Bronson Reed, and Bronson Reed basically just wants a match with Seth Rollins. But Adam Pearce doesn't want to give that to him until they're all on the same page. And then later on, Seth Rollins spoke to Adam Pearce and said that he needs the match with Bronson Reed if Adam Pearce wants the best version of himself on Monday Night Raw. I still think that'll be probably taking place at Crown Jewel.
I like how this was conducted too. It was like a sit-down meeting.
And then like
the two of them.
Yeah, for Reed and Pearce.
Yeah, I kind of liked it instead of him being like coming into his office or so, like it was an actual meeting between the two of them.
Well, that's based off of what everything has been going on with Bronson Reed.
Yeah.
We saw Cody Rhodes come out and address the crowd. He put over everybody there. And he said that the first time that the WWE Universe heard the We Want Cody chants was from them in St. Louis. And he thanked them for that. I guess that... I still don't know what to believe with that WrestleMania build-up. Whether or not, was that a thing? I don't know.
Who knows?
But Gunther interrupted, and he said that he respects Cody, but from my interpretation, Cody's too nice. And he can't be friends with everybody. And he mentioned everything that happened with Kevin Owens, and that set him off with Roman Reigns. You can't be friends with everybody. And then he called Cody a secondary champion. Cody clapped back by saying that he defeated the most dominant champion in WWE and has already slayed a frightening beast.
I mean, so to me, he was alluding to Roman Reigns.
Obviously.
But also then alluding to Brock Lesnar.
And Seth Rollins made mention of slaying a beast also.
Yeah, we haven't heard that drop of a beast in a long time.
Which, I don't know what that means. I mean, as far as we know, there's still the lawsuit and everything.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? It would be interesting.
And then Gunther said good luck to himself, sarcastically. So I'm looking forward to seeing that match. I would really prefer to see Gunther go over Cody. But I feel like, how could he?
I think he has to as well.
I don't know though. I can't see it.
I think that what's going to happen
unless Solo
is
gets
I don't
involved
think you
or
could,
Kevin gets involved.
Exactly. I don't think you can have a clean finish between the two of them. I think you can't have a clean finish, so I think that Kevin Owens is going to cost Cody Rhodes the match.
Also, I don't know, because then you go over to the other match and it seems like, how do you not have Tiffany Stratton get involved?
I don't think Tiffany Stratton necessarily has to get involved with that one, but I definitely see Kevin Owens costing Cody the match. I don't think that Gunther could have a clean loss. And Cody neither right now.
Yeah, so we'll see with that. Braun Breaker picked up the victory over Kofi Kingston. they played a video from Braun Breaker earlier as to why he turned his back on Jey Uso.
We got our answers.
And he said that out of respect, he went there and shook hands with Jey Uso and congratulated him, champion to champion. But Jey Uso, he claims, threw it back in his face and didn't say that he respected him back as a champion. And he doesn't need his family like Jey does. And he wants to eclipse what his family has done in the business, which I think is very, very possible.
Mm-hmm.
As far as this match, I don't think I would have minded if it was completely one-sided, though. Especially after that video.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I would have minded if Kofi Kingston was just like, boom, out.
Yeah, I would be fine with that, and it's I definitely, you didn't expect Kofi Kingston to win going into this.
No.
So.
And then after the match, Braun Breaker picked Kofi Kingston up to maybe do some more damage, but Xavier Woods ran down and chased him off. I don't want to say chased him off, but before anything could happen to Kofi Kingston, Braun Breaker left the ring, and then with Xavier Woods' back to Braun Breaker got back into the ring and knocked Woods over. And then Jey Uso ran down and made that ultimate save. I think he hit a spear and the super kick on him.
Yes, I think he
might
did
have even
hit
hit two super kicks. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think he hit the super kick and then the spear. Braun Breaker, that sell for the super kick too. I was surprised by the sell.
And then he got knocked off the apron with one.
Well, before that, for the spear spot, he super kicked him like into the ropes, and he just like bounced off the ropes and was dazed and confused.
Are you bringing that up because of the beginning of the
like
show?
Such a powerhouse to take that move like that.
Yeah, but later on, Jey Uso was walking backstage, and he went into what I assume was his locker room, and it was Jimmy looking to talk. And Jey Uso scoffed at it, I guess. He walked off, and then Jimmy went looking for him and asked Jey just to hear him out, and Jey said no, and he walked off. So I assume we'll put a pin in that.
Yeah, gotta see what's going to happen with that. It's going to be very interesting. But next up, you had R-Truth pick up the victory over The Miz. Little bit of interference.
Well, first of all, the Wyatt 6 thing that popped up during this scared the hell out of me. I wasn't prepared for that.
That's funny.
But the Final Testament made their way out, and R-Truth, based off of that, got a quick roll-up on The Miz. And then he went outside of the ring. Karrion Kross had Authors of Pain grab R-Truth and throw him back into the ring. And then Miz angrily hit that skull-crushing finale on him.
Yeah.
I think Miz is going to get got. The Wyatt 6 will be teaching him a lesson soon.
Ah. Okay. And what do you think the involvement of Kross with everybody still is?
Maybe they also get got. I don't know.
Yeah, it's gonna. I mean, the entire get got could be towards Kross and their organization.
I don't think so. It feels like they're going after specific people, and I feel like Miz will be one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that video, by the way, of the Miz backstage when R-Truth kept interrupting him?
Yeah.
I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, I thought that was good.
The main event, we saw Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Rhea Ripley and Tiffany Stratton, and in a no contest. I thought the match was decent. At one point, which I get it, but also don't get it, they had Tiffany Stratton yelling at Rhea Ripley for her trying to go after Raquel Rodriguez when she wasn't legal. So I like that Tiffany Stratton was yelling at her for that, but at the same time, it's like I'm split on that. I understand that Rhea Ripley just wants her hands on the Judgment Day, I guess. But at the same time, why is Rhea Ripley risking the match? I guess she doesn't care. That makes sense, right?
Yeah. She just doesn't care about the match. She just wants to get her hands on her.
But when they were arguing, Raquel Rodriguez powerbombed Liv Morgan over the top rope onto them, which the stuff Liv Morgan does, I think, is like insane. So I like that spot. But Nia Jax showed up. She attacked everybody from behind. Rhea Ripley went to take out Nia Jax, but Liv Morgan ends up taking her leg out. And it ended with Nia Jax taking Liv Morgan out. And Nia Jax, it's almost cartoonish, was like looking at Tiffany Stratton, hinting at her to like cash in. And I thought that was really funny. And Tiffany Stratton goes outside to go get the briefcase. She tries to cash in. And Dominic Mysterio ran down to make sure that didn't happen. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was a very funny interaction between Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton there. And all in all, this week's episode, even though it was a taped episode, I guess they can control the time a lot better on a taped episode. It focused a lot more on the women as opposed to last week. So hopefully when Monday Night Raw goes back to being live next week, we won't see anything ever again like that first week. I thought the timing on everything else was, we had like substance to these matches this week.
Yeah, I thought that this week was a lot better and a lot more flow, and I feel like it was able to entertain a little bit more and grip your attention a little bit more too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't feel like I was being forced to have to watch a match, which is good.
Right, so that's Monday Night Raw. Gonna move over to NXT. I saw reports saying that they redid the Performance Center for this new era of NXT, but it just looks like, based on what I saw last night, I feel like it looks exactly like the other Performance Center arena that we had. Maybe they had more lights and they just used the black and white NXT graphics. But it opened with Tony D'Angelo toasting Obafemi. But he said that he used Obafemi's greatest weakness and baited him into thinking that he's broken. And that's exactly how he beat him for that championship. And then Obafemi came out and said that he'll regain the championship at Halloween Havoc. And the family won't be there to help him. And he spun the wheel. It landed on a table, ladders, and scares match. Later on, Luca Crucifino said that he'll take on Obafemi next week, which has got to be a huge mistake for Luca Crucifino and the family in general. After that, we saw Stephanie Vaquer make her NXT in-ring debut, picking up the victory over Ren Sinclair. I thought this was a good match. I liked everything that we got from Ren Sinclair in this match. We got to see more of that no-quarter catch crew style. We got to see more of her in-ring abilities. And this might have been her best match in NXT yet. It's also nice to see Stephanie wrestle. I thought it was a good showcase match for her. But Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez attacked Stephanie after the match. Giulia made the save. And then Stephanie laid out a challenge for Halloween Havoc. So we're going to see a tag team match at Halloween Havoc between these two teams, and I'm pumped for that. But Fatal Attraction was annoyed that they're getting a tag team match. They want a North American Championship match, and Ava won't give it to them. And Ava was like, if you want the North American Championship match, then two of you can face Stephanie Vaquer and Giulia next week for that shot. So I like that we're getting to see that team wrestle before Halloween Havoc. So I'm all for this team together. Obviously, it's not going to last. One of them can only win that championship. We saw Lexis King pick up the victory over Oro Mensah in a gentleman's duel. There were a bunch of rules like no over the top to the floor. And if you send your opponent over the top rope and they hit the floor, you're DQ'd or whatever. 3 count instead of 5 to break the ropes. There was no fighting on the floor at all. They played into almost breaking the rules a few times. As far as the match goes, I liked this. It was, I don't want to say it was hard to follow, but remembering those rules was a bit difficult. The moonsault kick that Oro Mensah did when Lexis King was on the top rope, I thought that was crazy. That was cool. And I thought it was a great pin from Lexis King to end that match. After that, Nikita Lyons picked up the victory over Lola Vice. I like the fight aspect of this, bringing both of their styles in the ring together at the same time. I didn't expect Jada Parker to show up, and I feel like I should have expected that. But she got up on the apron, and Lola Vice knocked her off. But when the referee was distracted with Nikita Lyons, Jada Parker ends up taking Lola Vice out, which led to the end. I don't really like how that's the ending. That's how Nikita Lyons makes her big return to NXT, is with a distraction victory. So that kind of sucks. And then Jada Parker interrupted an interview with Tatum Paxley later on. And Tatum said that she doesn't forget in regards to her attacking Wendy Chu the other week. So I assume maybe we're going to see Tatum Paxley attacking Jada Parker soon. We saw Ridge Holland pick up the victory over Riley Osborne. Riley wasted no time trying to start this, but Ridge was able to take over. He beat Riley Osborne down after the match, and he was about to put Riley Osborne through that table, but Andre Chase ran down to make the save, making his big return. I don't know where this storyline is going to actually end up going for either Chase U and Ridge Holland. We saw Brooks Jensen pick up the victory over Ashanti the Adonis, which stemmed from an argument that they had backstage earlier in the night. Carmen Petrovic showed up. She almost kicked Shawn Spears. I thought that was interesting. But then she dumped the rose petals that Brooks Jensen destroyed earlier. And it gave Ashanti almost like the fire to get the victory. But Shawn Spears gets up on the apron, and Brooks Jensen ends up crotching Ashanti on the top rope, hits that DDT, and gets that victory. There's clearly some sort of love connection there with Ashanti the Adonis and Carmen Petrovic. If it can elevate Ashanti's career, and it can elevate Carmen Petrovic's career, I'm fine with that. I wasn't so fine with it a few weeks ago, but we'll see. Ethan Page in the main event picked up the victory over Wes Lee and Javon Evans to become #1 contender. He'll go on to face the champion Trick Williams at Halloween Havoc. But going into this match, I really couldn't think of who I thought was going to win this. But I was leaning towards Wes Lee before the match started. The person I expected least to win was Javon Evans. But then this match starts taking place. He hits that Spanish fly. I thought that could have been the end of the match. And then after he hit that the cutter on Wes Lee, after Wes Lee hit that Meteora on Ethan Page, I was like, that's got to be the 3 count there. And it wasn't. Ethan Page at one point hits Wes Lee with a power bomb as he went for a back suplex onto Javon from the middle rope. Javon ends up reversing that. He lands on his feet. He kicks Ethan Page out of the ring. Almost gets the win again. But Ethan Page rolled Javon Evans through with a pin, off that pin, and gets the victory. But even though Javon Evans lost, he looks like he can hang in the main event scene with Ethan Page, the former champion, with Wes Lee. So I thought that was a very well done match. After the match, Ethan Page called Trick Williams out to spin the wheel, which landed on a Devil's Playground match. I wish it was a different stipulation. I noticed they got rid of the Buried Alive match. I also noticed that Chucky will not come into play on this Halloween Havoc event. I don't know if that's unfortunate or not. They canceled the show, so that sucks. Not that I watched it, but as far as Chucky goes in the history of pro wrestling, I liked his inclusion there. But I don't think this needs to be a Devil's Playground match. That's just a standard, no holds barred, Extreme Rules basically, which I feel like is the exact same thing as a tables, ladders, and scares match. But I feel like that's what they always do with this. And then Ethan Page clocked Trick Williams with something. I don't know what it was, but he took him out. I feel like Ethan Page has to lose that match. So we'll see what happens there. Moving over to SmackDown. it opened up with the Bloodline, and Solo Sikoa said that he was the one that created a bigger and badder Bloodline, and Roman Reigns and Jimmy can't do anything about it. Jay doesn't want anything to do with them, and the beatdowns on Roman Reigns are going to continue unless he comes to the ring and acknowledges him as the tribal chief. And then Jey Uso showed up, and the fans went absolutely nuts. They were singing his theme song, which I pop big time for. I feel like you don't hear that every single week, so I thought that was awesome. But Jay said that he's not there to fight, and dividing the family like this isn't it. And the Ula Fala is earned, it's not taken, which led to Solo saying that he's not trying to divide the family, he's trying to unite the family. And he told him to stop calling him little brother because he's the tribal chief. And Jay should be acknowledging him. And Jay asked why Solo had to get Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Jacob Fatu when they went out of their way to not have them in their bloodline. And he said that next time he sees Solo, it's going to be different. Backstage, Jey Uso saw Roman Reigns and Jimmy when they pulled up, and Roman told Jay that he's proud of him, but Jay wanted nothing to do with them. Even though he, I guess, dapped up Jimmy before that. But Jimmy said he thinks Roman Reigns needs to talk to Jay, and Roman's like, we saw him. He doesn't want anything to do with us. And he also mentioned that this would probably be all over with if Paul Heyman was there with them. And then he said that he'll fix everything and acknowledge Solo Sikoa, which I'll put a pin in. The first match saw DIY pick up the victory over the Street Profits and Pretty Deadly to advance to another tag team match next week. I couldn't pick who I wanted to see advance to next week. I had a feeling that it would be DIY. I liked early on in the match, there was a slap spot where Ciampa started to unwrap his fist to slap Elton Prince back, but Prince got out of the ring. But Pretty Deadly looked great in this match. It was nice to see them wrestling again. It's been like 2 months that we've not seen them actually wrestling. But this match got a bit chaotic. It was hard to tell who was legal at times. And in the end, DIY hit meet in the middle on Kit Wilson. Ciampa pinned him. Meanwhile, Montez Ford pinned Elton Prince, and Elton Prince was not the legal competitor. The referee counted. Street Profits thought they won. DIY thought they won. And obviously it was DIY who pinned the legal person. After that, Lash Legend picked up the victory over Piper Niven. I'm really, really glad that we got to see this match. I'm glad that we got to see the strength of Lash Legend in this match. Chelsea Green got involved, which caused a distraction. Jakara Jackson took Chelsea Green out. And when Lash Legend was turned towards all that, Piper Niven squashed Lash Legend in the corner. When she went for a Vader bomb, though, Lash Legend moved out of the way, hit her finisher on Piper Niven, and got that victory. After that, Cody Rhodes came out and he brought up a bunch of what-ifs in pro wrestling in regards to champion versus champion. And he said that he's not going to disparage Gunther, but he'll be leaving Crown Jewel with that championship. And then he invited Gunther to SmackDown next week to discuss everything. But I really liked the what-ifs. Like, what if so-and-so from the NWA faced the AWA, or WWE versus WWF, basically. So I thought that was nice. They addressed Kevin Owens after that. And they played the video that Kevin Owens released earlier in the day about being in WWE for 10 years now and how things haven't felt as bad as they do right now. And he said that it's unfair that he's been asked to stay home. We see people attack people backstage all the time, but Cody's their golden boy, so they're not letting him be there. And he doesn't know how valued he is by the company. He also can't believe that Randy Orton did what he did because he would have never, according to him, done that to Randy Orton. And he doesn't know if he can come back. And then Randy Orton went to Nick Aldis and basically demanded a match against Kevin Owens at Crown Jewel. Nick Aldis said he can't do it. It's something he can't do right now. And Randy Orton kept harboring, I want a match with Kevin Owens, or need a match or whatever, or not need, I'm going to have a match, basically. And Aldis was like, it's coming from above me, I can't do it. And Randy Orton was like, well, I guess I know who I have to talk to. So I assume maybe next week we're going to see Triple H at Barclays. The next match, Motor City Machine Guns picked up the victory over A-Town Down Under and Los Garza to advance. It is so awesome to finally see the Motor City Machine Guns in WWE. And it's so surreal. I was so happy watching this match. I've been fans of both of them together and separately. Probably, I don't want to say like 20 years, but around 20 years. So I was so happy seeing this match and finally seeing Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin in WWE. I'm looking forward to seeing Motor City Machine Guns versus DIY next week on SmackDown. Backstage, Andrade and Carmelo Hayes ended up brawling. They're also going to be wrestling in Brooklyn next week. That's their 7th match. And Nick Aldis said that they need a special guest referee for this occasion. And he made LA Knight the special guest referee. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that match. For the main event of SmackDown, you saw Candice LeRae and Nia Jax pick up the victory over Bayley and Naomi. It was supposed to be Tiffany Stratton in that match, but she was under the weather. So Nick Aldis made Nia Jax find a partner, and in walked the Way. Candice LeRae offered up her help, and Nick Aldis was like, I like that. Books it. And Nia Jax was like, you better hold up your end of the bargain, or else I'll end you in under 3 minutes. So, like Pretty Deadly, it was nice to see Candice LeRae wrestle on TV again. The match I thought was fine. Indy Hartwell got involved at the end and threw Bayley into the ring post, leading to Candice LeRae to hit that lion salt and actually get the victory, which was completely unexpected. In 2024, I did not expect to see Candice LeRae get a win over Bayley. Hopefully this means big things for Candice LeRae. She just won the Speed Championship. They mentioned in that promo earlier, but I was very surprised by that victory. Hopefully there's more. And then to close SmackDown, Roman Reigns came out. Solo Sikoa came out. And Roman Reigns mentioned what Solo told Jay earlier about the family being stronger. And he's like, I don't see it. And Roman Reigns said that they're more divided now than ever. After what they went through in the spring, the summer, he told Sika that he's going to fix this. And Solo said all Roman has to do to fix this is acknowledge him. And Roman said it. The fans were like horrified when he said it. And Solo said that wasn't good enough. And he said he needs to acknowledge me as the tribal chief. Or else. And Roman Reigns blew up. He goes, or else what? And Solo called him out on that. He goes, I knew it. I knew you wouldn't have changed. And I'll never change. And he snaps his fingers. He has Jacob Fatu come out with Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa dragging Jimmy out. Knocked out, beat up. And Solo went after Roman. Roman took him down. The Bloodline went after Roman Reigns. He takes them down. But Roman Reigns stopped and picked up that Ulafala. He put it on. And Solo Sikoa low-blowed him. And then the Bloodline pounced. And the fans were going absolutely insane. Yeeting for Jimmy, for Jay to come out. And that never happened. I was so shocked that that didn't happen. Maybe next week? Maybe they're waiting for New York? I don't know. Maybe they're waiting further down the line. And it ended with the Bloodline on top. And I thought this was a very well done SmackDown. Going to take a quick little break right now, and I'll be right back here on Markin Out.
Hey, this is Bob Camp, Ren and Stimpy director, and I directed Mad Dog Hoek, everybody's favorite wrestling cartoon. We got a little message here from Lump and Loaf. We know where you live. We know where your parents live. All right, so watch out, because they're going to get you. And be sure to listen to Markin Out, all right?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Markin Out episode 715. Moving over to AEW Rampage from last week, you saw the Conglomeration pick up the victory over the Kingdom. This, I thought, was a good tag team match. I thought Kyle O'Reilly and Orange Cassidy worked well together. The catapult into the beach break spot I thought was really cool. And I think the most interesting part of this was the handshake afterwards. Maybe that was a sign of things to come with Wrestle Dream, but also maybe not, given what I know now with Dynamite. I don't know. So I'll put a pin in that. But Chris Statlander picked up the victory over Amira. They aired a video before this where Chris Statlander blamed her change in attitude on Mercedes and how Willow put all her focus onto Mercedes. And I guess ditch their friendship. But I think that's an awful explanation as to why she's no longer heel. There was pretty much nothing to this match. It's just a dominant match that I think a heel would be having. After that, Black Taurus picked up the victory over the Butcher. I'm glad to see Black Taurus get a victory here. I will say that it sucks that the last victory for the Butcher in AEW was April 2023. I feel like that's a bit of a ball drop. Roderick Strong on commentary, cheering on Black Taurus. I don't know. Everything is so jumbled right now because on one hand you have Roderick Strong and the Undisputed Kingdom, and then their friendship with Adam Cole, and then you have Roderick Strong cheering on Black Taurus. Now Black Taurus is in LFI with Jake Roberts. So where does he fit in? Where do they fit in together? After that, Lance Archer picked up the victory over Matt Brannigan. This, I think, it's just the same booking that Lance Archer has been doing for years in AEW at this point. And it's just beyond stale to me. Main event saw Brian Keith pick up the victory over Rocky Romero. I don't understand how this was the last match leading to a pay-per-view. That was very confusing. Wrestle Dream, I didn't watch it. I saw just the clips on Twitter and everything. Brian Cage kicked off the show on the 0 hour, picking up the victory over Atlantis Jr. to become the new Ring of Honor TV champion. Anna Jay picked up the victory over Harley Cameron. This was one of the most talked about matches of Wrestle Dream. Not because of the match itself, but because the referee pushed Harley Cameron's shoulder down and then counted the pin, which led to Anna Jay winning. That was very, very off. After that, the Acclaimed picked up the victory over Maximum Male Models. Rico returned to wrestling after almost 20 years. So that was pretty cool to see him and in that get up and everything. I feel like he's someone that I wish had a Legends deal with WWE, because I'd like to see what I think he probably had one of the, even though, well, I guess the shirt, they didn't do the 3-minute warning shirt like that. They did a different red shirt. They kind of did like an attire mashup, I think. I think he had one of the best Jax Ruthless Aggression figures. So it would be cool to see what Mattel can do with Rico, and it'd be cool to have Rico in the video games. After that, the Conglomeration and the Outrunners picked up the victory over Dark Order and the Premier Athletes. I don't get the combination of anything in this match. Jay White picked up the victory over Hangman on the actual pay-per-view. Mariah May picked up the victory over Willow Nightingale to retain. Jack Perry beat Shibata to retain. Then Daniel Garcia made the save for Shibata before anything could happen. And then MJF returned and he attacked Daniel Garcia. And then Adam Cole returned. So he was a heel the last time we saw him. He had the devil gimmick, and now he's done with that. Honestly, the whole devil gimmick, for me, even before Adam Cole, we saw him last when he kicked MJF, the devil thing was like beyond dead. Once CM Punk was gone from the company, it was completely pointless. So now what they did to make it make sense, I still like, it doesn't make sense. And I'll talk more about that in a moment. Takeshita picked up the victory over Will Ospreay and Ricochet to become the new international champion. I'm glad that Takeshita won the title. Kyle Fletcher turned on Will Ospreay afterwards. And I don't care. Don't care at all. Swerve had a segment, which I was surprised that Bobby Lashley didn't debut during this. But MVP made the same offer to Swerve to join him. Swerve turned it down. And when he was doing press for this, I could swear he said it was going to be more than just a segment on the show. So I expected something big from this, but it was literally, there was, outside of the fact that he's from the state, there was no reason to have Swerve there. That was a completely pointless Dynamite, even Rampage sort of segment. Hologram picked up the victory over Black Taurus in a 2 out of 3 falls match. Darby Allin beat Brody King. The Young Bucks beat Private Party to retain the tag team championships. A lot of people I saw on Twitter say this was the wrong call. They should have, like, on the fly changed it or whatever. I don't know how often that happens in pro wrestling, especially these days. But on Dynamite, Private Party challenged the Young Bucks to another match, which Young Bucks were like, oh, that doesn't work for us. And then Malcolm Bivens showed up. Malcolm Bivens. Stokely Hathaway. and he said that the next time they challenge for titles and they lose, they should just be done as a tag team. Mark Briscoe beat Chris Jericho to retain the championship. Jon Moxley in the main event picked up the victory over Bryan Danielson to become the new AEW champion. And then afterwards, the Blackpool Combat Club beat Bryan down. Wheeler Yuta finally turned heel and did the plastic bag gimmick. And then the Blackpool Combat Club took out some of the AEW roster. They came out to help Bryan, and that was the ending. And then everyone was like, how dare Bryan Danielson not get like the perfect send-off that he would deserve? And they were like, oh, sometimes people don't have happy endings. I can see both sides of the stories, but then those people I feel like are the same people that complained with Kurt Angle and Baron Corbin. So, moving over to AEW Dynamite, it opened with Jon Moxley talking to either us or Wheeler Yuta. I felt like I was too dumb to understand most of it, but he ended up telling Wheeler Yuta that he works for him. I think that's what the outcome of that was. We'll put a pin in that. Adam Cole opened the show and addressed the Kingdom, and he said that he loves them, but he has to do this on his own. And then he moved on to talking about MJF, and he said, in order to fight evil, you need to be evil. And you shouldn't trust MJF. And he went in circles with this for a little bit. Then he challenged MJF to step up to him, and MJF's music hit. Didn't come out. Instead, a video played, and he said that he let Adam Cole in, and Adam Cole turned his back on him. Which is, I think, exactly what Adam Cole said that MJF would say. And then he blamed who he is now on Adam Cole. And said that he'll never get a match with him. So obviously that's going to build to a big match between the two of them. After that, FTR picked up the victory over the Learning Tree. Mark Briscoe accepted Chris Jericho's challenge for a rematch. And said that it'll be a ladder war next week. I feel like if they're going to do this, Chris Jericho will probably win. I don't want to see Ring of Honor titles on AEW television, though, unless you're pushing Athena. When is she going to be on AEW television? And as far as this match, I feel like this match was mainly a commercial break. FDR hit the shatter machine to pick up the victory. You had LFI watching backstage. And then FTR, while they were celebrating, they just randomly stopped and looked at the entranceway. And then the Outrunners came out for no reason. Literally for no reason. They did a handshake and that was it. What's the point of that? That was so stupid to me. After that, you had the Acclaimed interviewed and Renee asked them what's next. MVP and Shelton Benjamin interrupted. And MVP said that when they're ready to be serious, give them a call. Give him a call. They basically turned it down, but right now with the Acclaim where they are, maybe they should call him. After that, you had Mercedes Moné pick up the victory over Queen Aminata to retain the championship. I wish this had more build. The build to this was Queen Aminata standing up for a random production guy that we don't know on Rampage. Or I think it was Rampage. It was interesting to hear fans cheering for Mercedes during this match. We had Camille get involved multiple times. And she ate a huge slap at one point. That distracted Queen Aminata for Mercedes to get control for the time being there. I liked the sunset flip that she was able to do. But Mercedes Moné eventually made Queen Aminata tap out. You have the Conglomeration pick up the victory over the Elite via disqualification. Before the match, Jungle Boy wished Kenny Omega happy birthday, but he also wished death upon Kenny Omega. And then they dumped like organs on a cake. As far as this match, I don't really understand why this match took place. The main thing was Wheeler Yuta attacked Orange Cassidy. And that caused the DQ. And then the Blackpool Combat Club showed up. They attacked the Conglomeration. Top Flight, minus Leo Rush, tried to make the save, but they got shut down. Dark Order tried to make the save. They got shut down. The Elite were looking on. They left. Backstage, Daniel Garcia confronted them over that. And we saw the fight happen later on in the night as well. For me, and then all the teams, like, they cut promos or whatever. I don't know if it's going to lead to like a gauntlet parking lot brawl or something. I don't know. But to me, the only way out of this story with the Blackpool Combat Club is for Tony Khan to be the leader of the Blackpool Combat Club. And I certainly don't want to see that, but it doesn't make sense to me. This storyline and the Adam Cole storyline doesn't make sense. Even if you want to group Chris Statlander, doesn't make sense. You had Shelton Benjamin pick up the victory over Leo Rush. I don't know if Leo Rush and Layla Gray are still part of Top Flight. But I will say that it sucks that Shelton Benjamin was let go by WWE, because I think Shelton is someone who should always be signed with a company and always on TV. So hopefully this run with AEW will lead to very big things for Shelton Benjamin. He still hasn't won like a major world championship, and I feel like he should 100% have won that. Hopefully he does. This match I thought was fun. I definitely had higher expectations given who the participants were, but I don't want it to sound like I thought the match sucked or anything, because I thought this was an entertaining match. I'm also very torn on how I want this match to go, because part of me feels like Shelton Benjamin should have just like torn right through Leo Rush just to establish how dominant he is. But after the match, MVP gave Leo Rush his business card and he put Shelton Benjamin over. And he said that Swerve needs to reconsider his position on joining. Swerve was interviewed after, but really there's nothing to talk about. You had the Don Callis family press conference. Brian Cage is now randomly part of the Don Callis family. Lance Archer came out with Don, so at least they're not forgetting him this week. But it seems like the Cage of Agony is dead, and the Righteous as a trio probably dead as well. because Don Callis wants them as tag team champions, it seems. And then he brought out Kyle Fletcher and he brought out Takeshita. Kyle Fletcher wouldn't even say why he did what he did to Will Ospreay. And like I said before, I couldn't care less. The main event saw Christian pick up the victory over Jay White. Nick Wayne tried to cheat during this, and the Bang Bang Gang prevented it. And because the referee is so stupid, he kicks them out from ringside. Nick Wayne puts a chair in the ring in front of the referee. You could see the referee turn and see the chair. You could see him see Nick Wayne. And then quickly turns back his attention away from Nick Wayne. So the referee kicks them out, and then they drag Nick Wayne to the back. So everyone from ringside, I don't know where Nick Wayne's mother went, but everyone that would get involved in the match was gone. Kip Sabian shows up, distracts Christian, and then quickly runs. Well, before that, Hangman shows up. And everyone's like, who the hell is that? Commentary's like, who is that? Oh, it's Hangman. Kip runs back into the crowd and just sits like a fan. They zoom in on Hangman. He's looking like a cartoon character. That was very goofy. And they continue with the match. And then Kip Sabian runs back and repeats the same spot. And then Hangman repeats the spot as well. Except that time he hits Jay White with the buckshot. So they clearly messed up and just repeated everything. That was awful. That was truly one of the worst things I've ever seen in AEW. And I don't think this was a good follow-up to a pay-per-view. You had some stories progressing, but not where everything should have been. And like I said, there was a lot of messy stuff. Like even the teams that the Blackpool Combat Club took out, they were perfectly fine to cut promos individually. They were perfectly fine. John Silver chased after the Blackpool Combat Club. Bryan Danielson was left out there to be dead. But these teams who never win on television, or almost never win. Top Flight has been complaining about their losses as of late. They walk away from everything and cut promos? That makes no sense. At all. So that's AEW. Hey, Brennan, got any shout-outs?
I'm Louis Anderson, and survey says Brandon shout-outs.
The first shout-out goes to Girl Haunts Boy, which is a new fantasy rom-com on Netflix. I think based on a novel by the same name, but the novel isn't out yet. If I was like reading that correctly, I wasn't quite understanding that, but I think that's the deal. But it stars Peyton List, who plays a ghost from the 20s, and Michael Cimino, who plays a teenager. He moves into the house where her character is trapped. To me, the movie comes off as like Goosebumps. If Goosebumps was a rom-com.
Okay.
So if you're into that genre, I would definitely recommend it. It takes place around Halloween, so it's the perfect season for something like this. So I enjoyed it. It's a young adult novel, I guess, I think is what they said. So perfect.
Sounds good.
Yeah. My next shout out goes to Scare Tactics. The show was so unbelievably good back in the day, which it like originally ran from like 2003 to 2004, and then it returned for a third season in 2008, and then more seasons from 2010 to 2013. But Jordan Peele brought it back for a new season. It's on USA Network. It's streaming on Peacock. It's exactly how the show was, which I still don't understand how people get fooled in some of these scenarios. But I guess like if you're going into a situation with your friend, there's some trust to what's going on there.
Mm-hmm.
but like you see a little demon run out of a pregnant woman. Like, come on.
What?
In what scenario do you like think that's legit?
Yeah.
Like she gave birth to a little demon.
That's crazy.
Or they're doing an exorcism and it's like, or I mean, they don't realize that there's a demon inside the woman or whatever, and she starts floating. Obviously, you're gonna freak out, perhaps. I don't know.
I mean, I may freak out a little bit.
So check out Scare Tactics, and then I'll give my final shout out to the Hulu exclusive Family Guy Halloween special. It came out this week.
Are they still doing new episodes?
Yes, but this is an exclusive just for Hulu, an exclusive episode. So when they first announced this, I thought it was going to be an actual movie, but it's just an episode, so it's kind of disappointing. But I still enjoyed it for being an episode. A lot of people don't like Family Guy anymore. I still find it enjoyable. So if you like Family Guy, obviously I assume you're already checking it out. But like I said, it's on Hulu. If you have the package, it's also on Disney+. So those are my shout-outs. Now it's time for
Mark Out Moment of the Week.
That is right, our Mark Out Moment of the Week. I guess tying it into my shout-outs and going back to Scare Tactics, they had Cody Rhodes and the New Day on the episode this past week, or last week by the time you're listening to this. And yeah, Cody Rhodes got the New Day, which I don't know, like, is it legit? I have no idea, because how they get tricked into believing these things, I just don't get it. I don't know. I don't know if I'd be that susceptible to it. But it's funny because even on the first episode, this dude was like, I'm not someone who follows everybody. And here he is thinking he's eating human. Like, it's so funny. But I popped that they were on Scare Tactics. Something else, like I mentioned last week, if the WWE Vault keeps releasing things that I pop for, it'll get mentioned literally every single week. And on Saturday, they released...
every week has had one of them.
I mean, they released Dusty Rhodes' final match that took place in 2010. It's something that I've wanted to see for a long time. I've known about it. It took place in FCW. And he teamed with Cody Rhodes. He teamed with Goldust. The only time that the three of them, the only time that him and Cody ever teamed together.
Really?
Yeah. And they took on the Dude Busters, Trent Beretta, Kalen Croft, and Kurt Hawkins. So that's Dusty's final match. It's on YouTube. There's a video camera, like, you know those old style video cameras? Like they have like the markings everywhere. That's what's on the footage, so it's not like 100% pristine.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just happy that we finally got to see that match.
That's pretty cool.
You have any other
That's really cool.
mark out moments?
I don't think anything really happened pro wrestling related to me that would be worthy of a mark out moment. I mean,
I feel like
I'm definitely marking out for the baseball playoffs.
We'll see closer to the end game.
Yeah, but not really a mark out moment in regards to pro wrestling, though.
What about Rico being at Wrestle Dream?
That's so random.
Mm-hmm. And doing stuff opposite of Billy Gunn, he still looks fantastic.
Yeah, so random. I totally forgot about his relation to Billy Gunn, too.
He was wearing his 3-minute warning gear, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I totally forgot.
Also on SNL, they did a parody of the NFL ad spot with Celine Dion, and they had Ariana Grande portraying Celine Dion, singing for the UFC instead of the NFL. And Ronda Rousey was included in like the archival footage video package that they had.
Getting hit.
Yeah, so it was just footage of her fighting, so I still think it's cool to see somebody that had an impact on pro wrestling appear on Saturday Night Live, even if it was just like footage and not actually on Saturday Night Live, if that makes sense. But I thought that was pretty cool. And then back on Monday Night Raw, that Dragon Lee video package that they did, I thought was so well done, and I liked that they included former members of the LWO, like La Parka was included, Psychosis was included, and then obviously Ray and Eddie were shown. But I thought that was a very good video package for Dragon Lee, and hopefully it leads to him being built up, I want to say in a singles match, but next week we're going to be seeing Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee take on American Made, and I don't know who... Like, I feel like American Made needs to be built up, or like rebuilt up, I guess. But I also kind of want to see Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee advance.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm like very torn on that.
Yeah.
So, you got any more mark out moments or not at all?
I got nothing, dude.
Well, that is episode 715. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can follow us on Twitter at Markin Out, at BTTG161 on all platforms. Chris Sweendog, CM Sweeney85, David PTDPT, Facebook.com/Markin Out. YouTube and Instagram are Markin Out 11. You could buy some t-shirts, ProWrestlingTees.com/Markin Out. Follow us on TikTok at Markin Out. You could listen to the show, like I said, on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, iHeartRadio, markinout.com. And we wish you the best of luck in your future endeavor.